Hey everybody, it's Dr. Law here. Thought I'd make a video for this week's discussion on the four-factor model. Rather than go into more depth of the four-factor model, I wanted to share an actual diagram that I share with clients and have found very useful when using CBT or other similar cognitive-based approaches. Some people call it the triangle, pyramid, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. But basically, it's very similar to what you're using now, but this is something, again, I use as a visual representation of using cognitive behavioral therapy in counseling. Because, again, you're going to be working with people from all different ages, different developmental levels, and so it tends to help to have something visual, and so it's pretty simple. I'm going to just put this right up here in front of you so you can read it. Well, as close as I can. So what you'll see, it's right here on this end, is the situation. So the situation is just as it is in the four-factor model. Other methods might call that the activating event, or just something that happens that's outside of you, as in you do not have control of it. It's just something that happens. It could be a global pandemic, for example. Then, so that happens to the person. Then you move up, and you have the top. This is probably one of the most important parts. The thought or the interpretation. The thought or the interpretation is the part where the individual at first may not have direct control or access or understanding. They may not know what their interpretation of, let's say, a global pandemic is. They just simply know that there is a reaction down here, and that the reaction might be emotional, it could be physical, or it could be some type of behavior, some kind of reaction. And so let's say that because of a global pandemic, they're feeling panicky, anxious, their heart's pounding all the time. They feel worried, they're afraid something bad's going to happen. They may not even be generally afraid that they're going to get sick or get somebody else sick. They're just afraid. And so they come into your office and they describe the situation, and you find the symptoms that maybe they're not sleeping well, their mind is racing, they're worried about bad things happening, they're having physical reactions as well beyond their heart racing, things like that. And you come up with an idea that they have some kind of generalized anxiety disorder or something like that. Then what we do is, in teaching them this, we bring to their attention the event, what happened, and then we bring to their attention their response or their reactions. And at that point, we're not doing anything other than increasing their self-awareness of the situation and the result. And then, when we get up into the real part, we start looking at their thoughts and their interpretations. That's where we start looking at some methods call it cognitive distortions. I've heard some people call it stinking thinking. All kinds of fun ways to have been described to just look at the way people interpret the event. And then when you look at the thought patterns with the individual or your client, you're trying to find with them the thoughts that are not based on total rational thought, or that there's no full evidence or foundation to it. Now, one way you can do this when it comes to evidence of the truthfulness of the thought. Let's say the thought is, I'm going to get sick and I'm going to get somebody else sick and it's going to be my fault. Well, we can look at three different possibilities with that thought process. Is it possible? Is it probable? And is it likely? Possible, I would say anything is possible. Most everything is possible. So yeah, in talking with the client about their worries about getting sick or somebody else sick, it's possible. Probable, let's say they've done everything they can. Because they're so worried, they're on blogs, they're looking at the internet, they're studying and trying to figure things out. What they can do to stay, as they describe it, safe. And they're doing everything they can. Then the probability of them getting sick or somebody else gets sick has just gone down. And now let's move to, is it likely that they will get sick or get somebody else sick? And it will be their fault. There isn't enough evidence to support that. There's just not. And so this is a way that you can dispute with them their irrational thinking, which has led them to feeling anxious, which has ultimately led to them coming to your office. So again, you draw the diagram with them, identify the different areas, and then one intervention is looking at the probability, the possibility, and the likelihood of the truthfulness and the accuracy of their thought processes. I hope this is helpful. I know it was very quick. If you have questions, please leave comments. Thanks.